Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm so excited because we are starting my first official fall themed vlog and I couldn't be more excited even if this is technically a little before the start of fall. It's September, it's fall in my brain. So we're going to start out by picking out some fun reads for this vlog. So I'm thinking maybe a thriller or two and then other like fall themed, Halloween themed, supernatural themed cozy mysteries just to give us some cozy and spooky vibes for this vlog. I'm also going to be baking something, so hang out and I will show you that later on in the vlog. Let's go ahead and start with our reading picks. For sure, I'm including Crime for the Books by Kate Young. I actually started this last night. This is part of the Jane Doe book club mystery. I included this in my fall TBR. I will link my fall TBR above for you if you want to check it out. I did 13 different books that I want to read this fall, and we'll have some of them on this list today and a couple other ones, a mixed match. So I'm really excited. This one is basically based on Agatha Christie's Miss Marple novel, A Murder is Announced, where the Jane Doe book club in this is throwing a party themed after that book, and they announce the murder in the newspaper, and then of course at this fun 50s themed like Halloween party, someone actually ends up getting murdered. I'm really enjoying this so far. So I am about halfway through this. What I will say is our main character is Lila. This takes place in Georgia. You have a lot of southern charm, which I like. I will say I think the characters are definitely pretty dramatic. So if you don't like a lot of dramatic friendship and like romantic moments, keep that in mind. Like if that'll drive you a little crazy, just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I'm really enjoying the mystery. It keeps going down a rabbit hole that I wasn't anticipating, and I'm really interested in that. I don't have any good theories right now. I really don't. I just found out like a big plot point and I'm just like, okay, I'm still confused here. So I'm very curious about how this is going to end, but overall I like our main character. I feel like she's a very loyal sleuth. She's very big on protecting family and friends. I like the theme of the Jane Doe book club. Basically the Jane Doe book club does mystery novels, but they also talk about cold cases with Jane Does. And our main character Lila, she's not like a full amateur sleuth, I would say, because she technically works for a private investigator firm. So she's got that connection. So she has a little bit of a background in it than like the typical like civilian would, but she's still not like a police woman or detective. So I still think mostly amateur sleuth. She's not supposed to be poking her nose around as much as she is. So there's definitely that element, but I will say definitely some dramatic friendship and romantic subplots. There's a lot of friend drama sometimes in these. But otherwise, I do really enjoy it. So far I'm feeling like a 3.5 so far. We will see. I will give you an update when we finish this. Otherwise, I'm considering Witch Trial by Kate Conte and A Sprinkle in Time by Dana Mentink. These are both my fall TBR. I'm not sure, but let's go and take a closer look at my physical TBR cart and we will pick out some books. I definitely need to knock out some library books. And I need to not pick more than like 5 books for this or I'm gonna go crazy. So 5 is my limit. Hold me to it because I'm really bad at that. Let's go. Okay, so top row here are library books. I want to pick at least 2 library books, and I know that this one is definitely one I'm curious about. It's Secondhand Spirits. Love the Vintage, Not the Ghost by Juliet Blackwell. This is book 1 in the Witchcraft mystery series. And Lily opens a secondhand vintage like clothing boutique in San Francisco, and she's hoping for kind of a normal life. And she's got these magical powers where she can sense vibrations from clothing, and I guess it kind of gives her clues to things. And basically a customer ends up dead. She gets involved. I thought this would be like a perfect kind of witchy supernatural mystery. I haven't read this series or this author before, but I'm very excited. Another one I'm excited for is Dark Corners by Megan Goldin. This was just released. We basically have our main character Rachel, who's a true crime podcaster, and she is helping the FBI because this influencer interviews somebody who's about to be released from jail even though they are still a suspect in these murders or disappearances, but there's not enough to like keep them in jail. And the influencer interviews this man and goes missing shortly after. So now Rachel is on this case because she, I think, has been covering it for a while with her podcast, and she's helping the FBI, and I'm very curious about this. I've had some good experiences with Megan Goldin before, but never like a knockout 5-star, so I'm hoping maybe this will be it. So that one will be a nice, like, fun, fast-paced one. I think, let's go and take a look down below. Okay, so the second shelf of my TBR is this, like, eclectic mess. We have, like, some historical fiction. We have some mysteries on here, some nonfiction, some thrillers. It's pretty much a mess. But the bottom shelf is exclusive to cozy mysteries. for the most part. So I'm trying to think, what do we really want to... I think it's time. I think it's finally time to read this. This is called The Ghost and the Dead Deb by Cleo Coyle. She writes the Coffee Shop mystery series, which is another one I've been meaning to get to, but this is the Haunted Bookshop mystery series. And I think it's like book 2 or something, so I would be kind of jumping in. But I've heard really good things about the series, and it has a ghost, so I feel like that's a perfect spooky supernatural vibe for this video. Our main character in this is Penelope, and she runs a bookshop, and she actually has a ghost on the premises. His name is Jack, and he's like a private detective, but he's a ghost now, so she can communicate with him in some way. And one day this author comes in promoting her new book, and it's about a cold case about a dead debutante, and the book actually points fingers at a couple people within the debutante's circles, which are people that are still alive. Shortly after, the author ends up dead in the same manner that the debutante was found, so now Penelope and Jack are on the case. I think this one just sounds so much fun. I love the cover. It's really whimsical. These colors are fun, so I think that will be a good one. So we're up to 4 with the Crime for Books. Okay, so we already have a lot of new to me authors on here, so I'm going to go ahead and do A Sprinkle in Time with Dana Mentink's Shake Shop mystery series. This one does take place during like fall time. We have the Alpenfest, and basically Trinidad Jones, the main character who owns the shake shop, her grandfather finds a dead body in his car that he uses as a taxi, and obviously he's disturbed. She is trying to help him out and to find out who this person is, why they're in his trunk, and this one just sounds good. I want to make sure I have a mix of authors that I've read and haven't read before, but I will definitely be reading this one soon, so if you're not already, hit subscribe and I will share my thoughts on this either in a future vlog or reading wrap-up or both, so we will cover that soon. Okay, so real quick, what we have here is we actually have 4 cozy mysteries. So we have Crime for the Books by Kate Young. We have A Sprinkle in Time by Dana Mentink, which is more of just like a fall cozy. We have The Ghost and the Dead Deb by Cleo Coyle. I'm not sure when this takes place, like time of year wise, but it is supernatural. And then we have another supernatural one by Juliet Blackwell. This is Secondhand Spirits, which I'm excited for. And then to kind of round it out, we have a thriller by Megan Goldin, which is Dark Corners. This just came out like a month or 2 ago, so it's quite new. So I want to get reading on that, and I will give you guys an update when I have gotten through some more reading. Welcome back. So I have a huge reading update for us, so let's just go ahead and hop in. I did finish Crime for the Books by Kate Young. So this is the Jane Doe Club mystery series. It's book 2 in the series, and it wasn't a knockout. I really wanted it to be, because this is based on A Murder is Announced by Agatha Christie, the plot line is, and I love that book by Agatha Christie, and the concept in general. It was okay. Like, it was okay. I'd give it like a 3 stars. I just don't feel like, for some reason, that I love this author's writing style. There's something about it that I don't really get drawn into it as much as I would like to be. And the other aspect that kind of makes it a little less enjoyable for me is there's a lot of like friendship and like romantic drama in these, with like Lila's family, friends, anyone she's dating. There always seems to be like a lot of drama with it. Like, for example, in this one there was a situation, I'll be vague so this isn't spoilery, but basically where a person was, like a person who was a friend of Lila was, believing that she had done something horrible, and they just like jumped on it so quickly, and it seemed so unlikely to me that someone who's like a really close friend of yours would just immediately believe something really terrible about you like that with like no evidence. They didn't see you do it, like not even asking you about it, they just like assume you did it. Like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a good friend to me, right? So I don't know, it was okay. Like, I enjoyed it. I thought the ending for this was really good. I liked the mystery. That's what gets me on this series, is I love the mysteries and I love the themes and I love the setting in Georgia. So that's the part that I love. It's just like the writing style, like kind of the relationships between the characters, some of the drama that is a little less my favorite. It's not my personal favorite. I might still continue reading this series. I do really like I said, the theme is what gets me. So then what happened is I was like, okay, let's read one by an author we know we really like. Let's read A Sprinkle in Time next. As you can see, I've made some good headway here. And I made this delicious breakfast and I'm enjoying reading this, and then I get to my email that morning and I realize Dark Corners by Megan Goldin is like it's a library book and it's coming up and I need to read it now. So we paused reading this one to pick up Dark Corners by Megan Goldin, and wow, I practically read this in like one afternoon. It was so good. I was feeling, it was a Friday, I was like just tired, wiped out, like needed to just like rest, and reading sounded like a good way to do that for me. Blown away. I honestly, the more I've been thinking about it, yesterday I was kind of thinking 4.5 stars, and now I'm thinking no, 5. It's 5. It's a 5 stars. And I'm so excited because Megan Goldin, up to this point, I have read Stay Awake and The Escape Room, and I've really enjoyed both of those. They were like strong 3.5 stars for me, but never like, you know, nothing that I would like rave and rave and rave about. Like, definitely enjoyable. I would recommend them if it sounds interesting to you, but this is like a solid rave. It was so good, and I'm actually really impressed too because, so our main character, this is Rachel. She's a true crime podcaster, and she's asked by the FBI to kind of to basically speak to this man at a prison who's about to be getting out. And he's about to be getting out on charges of breaking and entering. He served his time. However, he's a suspect in this serial killer case, basically, because there's a bunch of women in the area who had been murdered or have gone missing under kind of similar situations, and he's the suspect in that case. So the police are trying to get information out of him now before he's released. That way they can keep him in jail if he's the murderer, because obviously they don't want him out if that's the case. So she gets involved in the case, and I love Rachel. I love her as a character. I'm absolutely so sold. And apparently this is a series, so she's in the Night Swim that Megan Goldin wrote as well. So I will be going back and reading that very soon. Very, very soon. Cannot wait. That might be like one of my next thrillers I read. But I love Rachel as a character. And what's interesting is that you're reading kind of from her perspective, or like following her around for most of it, but then you do jump to the detective's perspective at times where you're following him around. And that was interesting because for me, I don't typically like mysteries or thrillers where I'm following around like a true like hard-boiled detective FBI agent kind of character. Like occasionally maybe a private investigator, you know, maybe like Hercule Poirot or like St. Just mystery series. It's like a small-time detective in like a small town or something. Maybe that, but like a hard-boiled FBI agent who's on like a serial killer case, that's usually not my cup of tea. This was so interesting. It was so well written. I didn't see, this just took me in so many different directions, and it was fascinating because one of the things that prompts them to ask Rachel to come out to speak to this guy in the prison is because a couple days before that he had a visitor who was actually an influencer, and they couldn't figure out why she was visiting him. It was very odd, like he hasn't had any visitors the whole time he's been in jail, and the influencer goes missing right after she speaks with him. And they think he somehow has like an accomplice or somebody on the outside who like grabbed her. And so they're trying to save her life. And the influencer part was very interesting just because of like the research they were doing, like digging through like her social media feeds. And then Rachel herself ends up going to this like influencer event to kind of like grab intel and stuff. It was so interesting. I loved this. I really enjoyed, like I said, the previous thrillers I'd read by Megan Goldin, but the writing for this one, like the quality, it soared through the roof. Like I could definitely tell, because the ones I had read by her were some of her earlier books and they were very good, but this one took it to the next level. I was so impressed. So we have that. 5 stars. I will absolutely be checking out the Night Swim. I really love dark corners. It does take place in Florida, so it's not maybe the most like spooky season fall kind of feeling, but the thriller part, I was so suspenseful. I was like on the edge of my seat so many different times. There were so many different things I was worrying about because of the book, and it was so good. On the other hand, on a much more cozy note, we have A Sprinkle in Time by Dana Mentink, a Shake Shop mystery. So this is book 2 in the series. Book 3 is coming out actually this month, September. I'll link my cozy mystery release video above if you want a whole synopsis of that, because I love this series. And I'm really enjoying this. So we have Trinidad, again, her grandfather finds a body in the trunk of his car. Obviously very concerning, and one of Trinidad's friends is actually a suspect in the murder, so she starts to get involved in it to clear her friend's name. We're getting to learn more about her. This is the second book in the series. I would recommend, you could jump in at this point, but I would recommend, if you can, reading book 1. I feel like you'll have there is a lot to do with her friends in this one because she's trying to clear their name, so I would read book 1 if you can for the context. You could probably pick it up, but if possible, read book 1 before this. I love this, and then the fall festival is really fun. This actually takes place, I think, during September. We just have a perfect, time of year for this. And what I'd say for the series is, if you like series that really have like a sense of like found family, I would say this is really great, because she does have her grandpa who is like with her, but everyone else that she really interacts with and cares about, she has this like deep sense of found family, including the fact that her husband had left her some like property in the area in Upper Sprocket, Oregon in the first book after the divorce, and that's when she moved out there, and she actually found out that his 2 ex-wives had also been left property in the area. So we actually have, I think it's Bonnie and Juliet in the area as well, and they are actually all kind of forming this like sisterly bond, which I think is beautiful. I love it. So I really love stories of like found family, because family in itself is amazing, but when you like choose people, I think that's just, equally as powerful too. And I think it's just so beautiful, and the fall vibes for this are amazing. We have some like delicious shakes and stuff that we're talking about. There's a festival, there's the Alpenfest. I'm enjoying this. Mystery's really good. I was reading this a little bit before bed last night, and I'm on page 140, so I'm about a third of the way into the book, and for most of that, I didn't really have a good suspect, but I think I have like an inkling. So we're gonna see if I'm right. I'm curious. I'm really liking the way that this mystery is going. I don't want to share more because it's not in the synopsis, so I don't want to give anything away, but I'm really enjoying the nuances that are coming out with this mystery. So I will give you an update later when I finish this. So for the brownies that we did today, these are based on the cosmic brownies, like the ones you see in the stores. These were sentimental to me because my grams used to always get these for me as a kid. I would go to her house and she always had these. They were like my favorite dessert or treat that she would get, besides just like chocolate, of course. And I wanted to figure out a way to make something like that at home, because I had tried the cosmic brownies a few years ago and it wasn't the same. I didn't really care for the taste now as an adult, but I wanted something similar to it to kind of remind me of that moment. And I found this recipe on Sugar Spun Run. I'll link it down below for you, but basically it's this really dense, like dark chocolate brownie, and then you have like a sweeter frosting on top that kind of hardens, just like the cosmic brownies. I don't have the rainbow sprinkles to make it quite the perfect dupe in terms of looks, but it tastes very similar. It's very reminiscent, but it definitely has like a better, taste and quality to it. I do use a special dark chocolate cocoa powder from Hershey instead of the regular cocoa powder in this recipe, just because that's kind of my preferred cocoa powder for all recipes. I just love the special dark cocoa powder. And then for the frosting, I followed everything in the recipe the same, except I did all milk chocolate because I have this giant milk chocolate bar that I'm trying to use up, so I decided to use just all milk chocolate. So the frosting was a little sweeter than if you follow the recipe exactly, but either way it's really good. You do have to let it kind of harden for like 2 hours or so, but it's super delicious, very fudgy, very rich, very dense, like the cosmic brownies, which just brings me back to my childhood, and I really love it, and I thought these would be a really fun fall treat to share for this vlog. But if you are interested in making these yourselves, I will have the recipe and a YouTube video with the original creator demonstrating the recipe. I love her channel, and I'll have that link down below so you can check it out if you want to make these as well. They're just really fudgy, super delightful. I definitely recommend them. And if you do like Cosmic Brownies, or they were like a favorite of yours as a kid and you kind of want a more upgraded version, this is a very delicious version. I really love it. And I just finished A Sprinkle in Time, and I called it. I was very, very excited. I got it. My suspicion was correct, but it was a very good mystery. I thought I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of layers that kept being like added as we went on. It was really expansive. I really enjoyed that. I love the dialogue, the way that Dana Mentink writes her characters. They just come alive on paper really well. I love the festivities. I love our main character Trinidad's relationship with the other two wives and how they're sisters, and how she's even like an auntie to one of the sisters' children's, Felice, and I just love them. It makes my heart so happy. It's such a fun kind of family oriented, just found family, it's just so like cheerful and happy and amazing. And even the two twins, she has these two guys who work for her, they're twin brothers, and they are just funny. They're just like always talking really fast, shooting off these crazy ideas, talking about different technology things that she doesn't know much about. They don't know who Fred Flintstone is, which broke my heart a little bit because I love the Flintstones and the Jetsons and all of that, but nonetheless, this was great. I'm gonna say 4.5 stars. I had a great time reading this. Really fun. I really flew through these last 200 pages, and oh, also, I didn't mention this. I don't think I've mentioned this in my review for this before, but the main character, Trinidad, does have a dog named Noodles, and Noodles is, I believe in the first book, Trinidad adopts Noodles because they like failed. They were trying to be trained as a service dog, but they just didn't end up like making the cut with like the tests and things they had to go through. But Noodles still has a very like service-oriented heart, a very empathetic dog, and what a cute name, Noodles. I mean, I love it. I love it. So definitely recommend this series. I would say if you can, read it in order. You could jump in at this point if you're really desperate to get into that fall mood, but if you can, jump into the first one because I loved book 1 as well. It was so good. So I cannot wait. Book 3 is coming out this month, September, so I'm hoping to get my hands on that soon because that one is actually a winter Christmassy one. Also, if you have read this book, the last scene for this, did it kind of just like stop your heart and make you a little teary-eyed? Because it made me a little teary-eyed. I was just sitting there like, okay, keeping our emotions together, Amy. But it was good. It was so good. This I really just don't have anything to say negatively about this. I loved it. I can't wait for the next one. I like how this, it reminds me of the Bookshop mysteries, kind of has like a little bit of like the awning at the top, and I love that. I think it's so cute and just really on theme, so I love it. Can't wait for the next book. Highly recommend the series. In terms of next, we have 2 books left for this vlog. We have The Ghost and the Dead Deb and Secondhand Spirits. I don't know. I think this one's quite a bit shorter. It's 260 some pages. This one's about 313, which is 313 I think is where the novel itself ends, because there's like an excerpt at the back. I think we'll go with this one. I just really want to get into a witchy mystery. I feel like that'll be really fun, and then that'll set us up for this one with a ghostly PI. So excited for that. These are going to be really fun. I will give you guys an update on this tomorrow. Hi guys, welcome to this reading update. So I'm giving you an update on Secondhand Spirits by Juliet Blackwell. I started this last night before bed, and I'm about 192 pages in. There's about 325 pages in total, so close to 2/3 of the way in, just about. And my thoughts so far are, this is a very, very heavy like supernatural mystery. So I typically prefer cozy mysteries that have just like a touch of supernatural. My favorite is the Odessa Jones mystery series by Valerie Wilson Wesley, because it features a sleuth who has some psychic abilities, but it doesn't really interfere with the sleuthing. It gives her like a slight edge, but it's nothing like crazy, whereas this character actually, she's making like these crazy potions and brews, and she's like healing abilities and like all these different things, so it's very, very heavily like rooted in the supernatural elements, which is totally fine. It's just something that's a little different from what I typically prefer, but I am liking it. I do like the main character. I think she's a very like noble character. She's got good intentions. She struggles with being kind of like a restless person who moves a lot, because she kind of, anytime anything gets tough with like friends or family, she just kind of moves and like gets out of there. And so she's really trying to like settle down and like make roots in San Francisco, and the spooky fog is really great for this, so definitely a nice like fall thematic element. I like her shop. The clothing and the vintage descriptions and things had just made my heart soar. I love it. I love the hearing about the descriptions and selling, and she was helping like a bridal party with clothing, and it was great. The mystery itself is pretty good, but I still feel like it's almost secondary to the character's development and like the magic and stuff, which is totally fine. It just depends what you're looking for. So for me right now, I'm kind of feeling like a 3.5, just because, like I said, with the supernatural, I prefer it to be a little more understated personally, but everything else has been really good. The writing's fun, the magic is fun. I love the vintage clothing shop, and she also has a familiar that she gets at the beginning of the book that she's kind of learning to work with, which is interesting. She's not fully taught as a witch. She had some training, but she left before she could finish it, so she has kind of this unknown aspect where she doesn't know as much as some of like the other witchy characters do know, so that's kind of an interesting element. But otherwise I really like it. I like her shop assistant. She has an employee named Bronwyn, and I just love that name. It reminds me of A Deadly Inside Scoop by Abby Collette, her series. The main character's name is Bronwyn, and I just love that name, and she's also a really great character. I'm really enjoying her. So far this is really good. It's enjoyable. I'm flying through it. It's fun, it's witchy, it's thematic, so I definitely am enjoying this so far. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am giving you the final update for the spooky reading vlog, and that is The Ghost and the Dead Deb by Cleo Coyle. I finished this last night, and wow, I have a lot of thoughts on this. So basically we are reading from Penelope and Jack's perspective throughout the book, so we do go back in time a few times to kind of read about a certain case that Jack was working on in the 40s, so that's kind of interesting. You're kind of reading from a more like hard-boiled detective writing style, although it's still quite cozy. It's nothing like, you know, it doesn't break like out of the genre in terms of like the violence or anything, but you do have that more like kind of rougher writing style, which is really fun to read. And then we're going back into the future with Penelope in modern day time, and I liked this. I thought the mystery was pretty good. I think it wrapped up with a pretty strong conclusion. I think it missed maybe a little something, but the writing style is so enjoyable. I really like the dialogue between Jack and Penelope, because only Penelope can really hear Jack. So that's very interesting. I really want to go back and read the first book and also continue this series. Definitely planning on that. The only thing I thought was a little bit weird, and let me know if you've read this series. This is book 2 in the series. I felt like, so I know maybe the language of the time in the 40s was a little bit more like, oof. So I know that there's going to be like some kind of language differences between the 40s and like modern day writing, of course, and I know like Jack would refer to Penelope a lot as like babe or honey or like things like that, and that was probably more acceptable in the 40s, but it felt like as the book progressed, like he was kind of flirting with her, which was weird because he's a ghost and she's a living person. I don't know. Maybe I read too much into it. It was a little, maybe, I don't know how the rest of the series progresses, but I found that to be a little, like, weird. I mean, it was fine, but I was like, okay, interesting. I hope they keep it at friendship levels, because I think that's a little odd, maybe? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts if you've read this, or just your thoughts in general and like something like that. But I do really like the relationship. I like how his like past cases kind of like tie in, and he helps her really think things through like a private investigator. So she's still an amateur sleuth, but she's got him kind of giving her more like insight and, hey, like maybe push here or use this, or, you know, did you look at this? And I like that. I think that's a fun combination. It kind of reminds me of Cozy series, where you have like a retired police officer, like, or someone in the family who worked in law enforcement, and they kind of give tips or inspiration to the sleuth that way. So I kind of liked that. I loved the idea of the haunted bookshop. I loved all the bookish, like the book event at the beginning of this. I thought this was just so much fun. I loved it. So I thought this was a really good series. I'm very excited. It was a very fast read. It's like 260 pages, so really quick read. I would recommend this series for this time of year especially. I think it's perfect with the ghostly presence, and I can't wait to read more. Thank you guys so much for watching this long spooky vlog with me. Let me know down below what kind of spooky, fun, cozy things are you reading right now, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new book content every week on the channel, especially within like the mystery and thriller genres. So if you like cozy mysteries, regular mysteries, thrillers, we cover it here. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!